All right, so Ghana is about to hit the reset button on its entire digital world. Seriously, today we're diving deep into a landmark bill that's set to change how every single tech company, every IT professional, and even how the government itself operates. So yeah, let's get right into it.
You know, as Ghana's tech scene is just booming, it brings up this really crucial question, right? Who is setting the rules for all of this? I mean, who makes sure that all the different government systems can actually talk to each other, that our data is kept secure? And maybe most importantly, who ensures that all this incredible digital growth benefits everyone in society, and not just a handful of people?
Well, it looks like Ghana's answer to all those questions is this: a brand new bill to create a really powerful National Information Technology Authority, or NITA. The best way to think about it is like creating a single, powerful conductor for the country's entire digital orchestra. Just one body to oversee, to regulate, and to drive the whole national tech strategy forward.
All right, first section. And when we talk about this, I really want you to think of it less as just a simple update and more like a complete system reboot. The whole point of this bill is to create an entirely new foundation for how technology is managed, how it's developed, and how it's regulated across the entire country. Okay, so let's meet the main player here. At the absolute heart of this digital reboot is a newly empowered agency, the National Information Technology Authority, or as we'll call it, NITA. And just to be clear, this is way more than a simple rebranding. We're talking about a fundamental shift in its mission and its power. So, what exactly is this new NITA? Well, probably the easiest way to think of it under this new bill is as the chief architect for Ghana's entire digital world. It's being designed to be the one single authority that sets the blueprints and then enforces the rules for everyone. We're talking government agencies all the way to private tech companies. Okay, so what is NITA's actual mission here? What's the endgame? Well, Section 2 of the bill breaks it down pretty clearly. The focus is really on 4 key pillars: making sure we have quality ICT across the board, promoting really high standards for efficiency and service, coordinating this whole tech ecosystem, and, this is a big one, managing the professional development of all the ICT pros in the public service. That all sounds ambitious, right? So how is NITA actually going to achieve those objectives? Well, Section 3 basically gives it a huge toolkit, but we can boil it all down to these 4 key functions. First, it's going to regulate by licensing businesses and certifying professionals. Second, it'll standardize by developing and enforcing national tech standards. Third, it's going to coordinate, overseeing all public sector ICT projects to cut down on waste. And finally, it's tasked to innovate, promoting local research and supporting startups. All right, now let's get into the new rules of tech. Because, you know, with a new powerful authority comes a whole new set of rules. And let's be real, this isn't a suggestion box. We're talking about a brand new rulebook that's going to apply to absolutely everyone operating in Ghana's tech space. So what you're seeing here is a really fundamental shift. We're moving away from what was often a kind of unregulated, chaotic landscape with inconsistent standards to a much more structured, formalized system. The bottom line here is actually pretty simple. If you are in the tech business in Ghana, you are now going to need an official license to operate, period. So who exactly needs one of these licenses? Well, Section 36 casts a really wide net here. It covers a huge spectrum of the modern digital economy. We're talking about cloud hosting services, SaaS providers, data center operators, basically everything, right down to any private company that partners with the government on digital services. And listen, it's not just the businesses. The new rules don't stop at the company level. Section 46 of the bill makes it clear this requirement extends to individuals too. That means all ICT professionals, doesn't matter if you're in the public or private sector, will have to be certified by NITA. This is all about creating a single national standard for tech talent. Okay, so we've talked about the private sector. Now let's talk about the government itself, because this bill has massive implications for how the Ghanaian government buys and uses technology. So under this new bill, NITA basically becomes the central gatekeeper for all government tech. For example, if a ministry wants to kick off a big new IT project, they have to register and get it reviewed by NITA first. If they want to buy new software or hardware, boom, they need technical clearance. The whole idea here is to make sure every single tech decision aligns with one national strategy and, hopefully, prevents a lot of wasteful spending.
Okay, we've gone through a lot of the what, but now for the big question, the so what. How does all of this actually affect you, me, and everyone else on the ground? Well, as you can probably guess by now, the impact of this bill is just incredibly wide-reaching. I mean, it's going to directly affect tech businesses that now need licenses, IT professionals who need to get certified, government agencies that have new oversight, and of course, it affects the general public, who are the ones who will ultimately use all these new digital services.
And just so we're clear, these new rules have some serious teeth. For example, Section 42 lays out a potential fine of up to 200,000 penalty units for something like illegally transferring a license. That's a pretty clear signal that these regulations are absolutely meant to be enforced.
But hey, it's not all just about control and penalties. The bill actually has some really forward-thinking parts designed to fuel innovation. For instance, it sets up what's called a regulatory sandbox. You can think of that as like a safe, controlled playground where startups can test out new, bold ideas without having to face the full weight of regulation right away. It also calls for an adaptive approach to future tech like AI and blockchain, and it specifically says NITA should support local Ghanaian tech firms.
And at the end of the day, what does this mean for the average person? Well, the bill puts a really heavy emphasis on public benefit. It's got provisions that aim to make technology more inclusive for persons with disabilities, for women, and for people in rural areas. It also wants to protect consumers, making sure we get good service and fair prices for our tech.
I think this quote right here from the bill's guiding principles in Section 5 just captures the whole spirit of it perfectly. It talks about interoperability, digital inclusion, and equitable access, especially for vulnerable groups. It really emphasizes this idea of building a digital future that leaves no one behind, and that's a core value that's written right into the bill's DNA.
So, when you step back and look at the whole thing, the National Information Technology Authority bill is a really powerful and ambitious blueprint. The framework is all there, laid out on paper. But the big question, the one that really remains, is this: will its implementation actually build the inclusive, the innovative, and the secure digital Ghana that it promises? Only time will tell.